Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. It's the last one of 2024. There will be no more. There will be in 2025, so don't worry. I'm your host, Mike, and with me on the panel today, we have got both Johnny and Chris, and we will be covering the draw with Barnet, and we're going to look ahead to Aldershot on New Year's Day. Don't forget, we love hearing from you. We love the likes, shares, retweets, thumbs ups, all the rest of it. So join the conversation at Sutton Podcast on any of the socials and let us know what you think. Just join the chat, really. Just make other people suffer. Get the algorithm working in my favour. We're going to jump in with Chris. Can't see you,
Hello.
but how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I've had a bit of a hectic festive period. I only got back into the UK on Christmas Eve, having been in Belgium for a wedding. And looking ahead to the Aldershot game, I might not have a suit. It depends how quickly I can get it dry cleaned. And also, in case you're wondering, why is Chris wearing a suit for the football game? I tend to volunteer in the tunnel, and we tend to wear suits. Yes, I have some Belgian mud. Maybe there's got something to the jacket for some reason. I don't know how, but anyway, right. But yes, that's
I've got
me.
a Santa suit I won't be wearing, so you can that,
Yes.
Johnny, how have you been?
Yeah, not too bad. It's that sort of wilderness period, isn't it, between Christmas and New Year? I'm staying at the family house at the minute, so it's not so much finding a suit; it's just finding any clothes really to wear on New Year. Anything will do. I might have to turn up in a dress or something. We'll see how we get on. But hopefully I can dig something out from somewhere.
Well, I was back in the office today, and was it yesterday? I was talking to someone. They go, "Oh, when you're recording the podcast for this one," I went, "Oh, not till Friday." And they're looking at me, and I went, "Yeah, no, I'm back in the office, and then I'll record it on Friday." And they're like, "So tomorrow then? Is tomorrow Friday? Okay, then yeah, that's fine. That's what I'm doing it."
Are you working on Boxing Day though?
No, it was yesterday. I was talking to the in-laws about when I was doing this.
Oh, right.
I was working
fine,
today.
Fine. Okay, fine.
About 110 people called us, and I think about 100 people were like, "Oh, I didn't know you'd be open today." And what made you pick up the phone and call? But anyway, let's move on. We are going to go with the knowing me, knowing you question and the little jingle. I can't see your faces on the jingles though. I'm so gutted. So I'm imagining your faces. I'm imagining some eye rolls and shakes of the heads. But we'll start with you, Johnny. If you could design a pre-match event for fans, what would it look like, and how do you think it would benefit the match day experience for people?
Yeah, so I'm going to be very boring. I know. So it's actually part of the next book I'm writing. There's a little bit about stuff like that. So it's a nice question for me. And history's shown that generally pre-match events don't tend to work, largely because people are there for the football. And so as much as, the Ariston were playing the other day, great band, really like them. You should check them out. The Festival is a great song. But because it's a football match, I think a lot of people, even though I would love to see the Ariston live at a gig, it's not, I guess the vibe is very, very different for the football match. I'm not bothering with these what's it called, National League Trophy, National League Cup. And I'm not bothering with those games anyway. But and I think it's an interesting way of getting people to go. But I think generally at the football, say we're there for the football. I think something like music can work if you give people the choice. So the fan zone, this is more of a summer months thing. I think having a live music act in the fan zone, we're talking behind the rec end here. So probably you're looking at August to October, then maybe March to the end of the season. Someone on there performing live, and then you've got the main stand bar, if you like, or main stand bars for those people like myself who probably just want to go and catch up, have a chat about the football, and go and watch a match. So it's a very dull answer, but I think giving people the choice of just sitting down, being boring, having a chat, it's good. But then I think if we are going to go for an option in that fan zone, I do love a bit of music. So something like that. I mean, to have a band like the Ariston playing, we're very lucky. So I think there are big things ahead for them. And so we may be looking back in 5 years and going, yeah, that's a bit weird. They were playing down here. very, very good option to have. But it still couldn't drag me to that National League Cup game, unfortunately.
Turn up for the concert and go. Yeah, I agree with you on some of that. But on a slightly different point, excellent plug for the new book and the Ariston. That is gorgeous work. Thank you.
I'm an expert.
Save me doing it. I was going to go with the selling all for Johnny, but I thought, no, I won't do that to him. I did that last time. Chris, same question. What would you design as a pre-match event, and what would it look like?
Well, because I don't tend to go to pre-match events because I tend to be in the tunnel. But I would say music before, as I have very fond memories of our trip to Plymouth Argyle in the FA Cup last season, and the fan zone there was fantastic. No pun intended. As we were mingling home and away, there was music. There were kind of like some ball games for the kids. I just thought it was just a wonderful atmosphere. I mean, it was helped by the fact that despite it was January and Devon, it wasn't raining. But I would say something like that would be fantastic. But yeah, but I wouldn't mind music as long as it's not kind of like, something kind of like, I was risk of sounding like an old man out there.
That's the difficulty with the music, isn't it?
It is.
It's a wide range of people.
It is. But there's I think as long as it's something pleasant or a covers band or something, I would quite like that, or even if it. I don't think I've knowingly heard the Ariston, and given Johnny's recommendation, I'll give him a Google afterwards. But I think certainly something fun. And I also don't mind if it's not. If it's music I wouldn't particularly like, as long as I can kind of like have a conversation and kind of like drift off to somewhere else, as long as it's stuff that others would like, and particularly the young folk.
Yeah, it is one of those things they keep trying different, not necessarily something, but different places keep trying different things. Obviously, Palace with the cheerleaders, and there's the little halftime competitions people do. And it's always.
Well, you asked pre-match.
I did say pre-match, but
you did say pre-match.
Very much just like everyone's going, like, why are we doing this? We just want to have a drink.
Yeah, I think halftime entertainment is a different question, and I'm kind of glad that we're not doing halftime entertainment this year, because I could barely hear it.
Well, I think we should have a racer player type thing, that American baseball thing where they race around the track.
Right.
We should get something like that.
Okay.
One of the injured players. We'll get Jaden.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Probably still beat
hold
me
on to your crutch, and
it'd still beat me. But if anyone's got any thoughts on that, drop us a line, and yeah, we'll just share it. I don't know. I'm not saying it'll work, but hey, let us know. We'll see what can be done. On to the match, Chris. For you, first of all, what were your thoughts ahead of the game, and what did you think of the lineup, and what was your expectations of the match?
Yeah, my expectations were that I was hoping that we wouldn't lose, and I was a little bit nervous, given that, given I have not seen us win many this season, and and also given where Barnet are in the league, and I was also somewhat worried about the vegetarian food provision, because last time round they gave me a hot dog without a sausage in it.
No meat.
That was
yeah. You could have just had a sausage. There's no meat in them.
Yes, yeah. Where I heard the team selection, I was not I was not particularly surprised, really. I mean, I didn't see the Tamworth game, but yeah, I wasn't shocked. But if anything, I was a little sad that Joe Kizzy doesn't seem to be on the bench.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know whether he's injured or whether he's fallen out of favour. Yeah.
What about yourself, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, I say like Chris, I would have taken a point at the start of the day. I think but then I wasn't. I don't feel like we're ever going to get battered. We seem to have turned a corner since those horrendous defeats against Boston and Dagenham. So I sort of quietly optimistic. Thought we could have kept it up. I thought if we were getting a result, it was going to be a 1-0 win from like a set piece or something, or a 0-0 draw. I wasn't expecting a 3-all. Turned out very different to what I was expecting. It was a shame not to see Josh Coley in there, but to say otherwise, more or less what I expected formation-wise. I thought we were going to set up to play on a counter, and I guess we started off doing that, and then it all changed a bit from there.
So yeah, Johnny, we'll stick with you. So we had a goal from Ashley to start it off.
Yep.
What was your view of the goal? How did you see it, and what were you feeling at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I always sort of half pay attention to the game when it's on. So sort of looked up and it's a bit of space opened up. We're in here. Watching it back, it was a very good goal, isn't it? It's brilliant from Hayden. So it's the sort of thing you expect to see from watching the Premier League or watching England. John Stones, for example, carry the ball out of defence, and the opposition, Barnet, sort of don't really know how to deal with it, don't expect it. It draws a couple of players in, and it leaves the space in behind for Jack and Ashley, and took it very well. We had a couple of similar things in the first half, actually, when even though we were mostly under the cosh, where we seemed to get a bit of space. They pressed high, Barnet, which I think suited us for creating chances. We looked a threat at times, probably at times being the key words there. Very, very good goal. Like it's 3 good goals we scored yesterday, and it's I think more of that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Chris, how were you sort of feeling at the 1-0? What was your view of the goal?
I was shocked that we'd scored. To be honest, I was because it looked like Barnet were just passing for fun, and I was getting really concerned about the amount of possession we were allowing Barnet to have. I mean, yes, sure, we'd already had a couple of kind of like breakaway attempts, but I was getting nervous, and then suddenly we have this joyous surprise. I mean, people behind me, I think, were already kind of like saying, "Well, we're just being so negative, etc., etc., and we're not trying anything, and we're not getting hold of the ball." And then suddenly that happened. But it was. I think hilarious is probably my reaction to it.
I've watched the goal a couple of times.
Yeah, it was a beautiful goal.
Yeah. What I like to do is obviously take anything I can away from Nutters. He shins it or does this or does that, but actually it's a great goal. Perfect. Damn it. I have to give some credit here. But we did get pegged back. I hear what you're saying, Chris, about them having a lot of the ball, but as Johnny said, I think we set up to let them have the ball and go, okay, have it, but you've got to try and hurt us with it.
Yeah.
And then they
But
did.
I felt we were getting
So-
quite. Yeah, that was the thing. I think you have to be very, very organised, and we were organised, but we weren't very, very organised. I felt.
Yeah. So talk us through their couple of goals. I mean, Johnny said a minute ago we scored 3 very good goals. I don't think their goals were apart from the scramble at the end. I think their goals were quite good as well. But talk us through their goals to put them ahead of us at half time. Or is it remembered?
As I remember them, I think I just remember them. I have watched the highlights. I just remember just feeling sinking despair. I can't talk you through them. I'm suddenly having a blank. Johnny, bail me out.
How did you feel about them scoring then?
How do I feel about them? Deeply disappointed, but also not surprised. And I was kind of like going into half time, just kind of going, just thinking. That we were probably going to be getting a bit of a whooping, and that we'd possibly thrown away a good situation, and that maybe we tried being too clever by half.
Yep. Johnny, what about yourself? Are you half watching the goals, or
unfortunately fully watching them? It's frustrating because I didn't think they'd really done much until the first goal. I don't recall. I think Jack maybe made one save that was near post. But they weren't a massive threat. They had a lot of the ball. We like you say, we let them have a lot of the ball. That was always, I think, the game plan. Deflected goal, you're always like, oh, here we go. Like, it's a bit of luck. They need to turn it. The second goal was poor from our point of view. I think too easy to get the cross in. I think Tyler French has been brilliant the last couple of months, but probably for both the goals, he might have felt he could have got a bit tighter on the first one, and he got beat. I think it was Tyler French who got beat. To the header for the second one. Yeah, so I think maybe he'll be frustrated with that. But and then at 2-1, suddenly then they looked threatening, and you're thinking, oh, if they get another before half time, we're done for. And they missed an absolute sitter at the start of the second half as well. So it wasn't looking great at that point. But then we did seem to turn it around pretty impressively after that.
We did, and this is where I'll have a little pop at Nadders. He's claiming an assist for Will Davis' goal, because he crossed the ball for Will to control it, dance around a bit in the penalty area, and then score. So I'm like, hang on, I know you passed the ball, but come on, is that an assist? But Johnny, what did you think about Will's goal?
Yeah, he took it really well. We were saying it was. So I think the more touches you take, the harder it is at that point. The more defenders get back, and you're expecting to see it blocked, and no, I like it. Loop straight up to the goalkeeper or out for them to counter or something. Yeah, he finished it really well. Disguised the moment to take the shot right into the corner. Keeper, no chance. It's always better when you score up the end where your fans are, isn't it? So always seem to get better scenes there. And it was good. It was a good moment. And yeah, like. I think it'd been coming, to be honest. It had been coming. I said we deserved it. We'd had a couple of good chances where Nada should have scored, really. And then Lewis Simper probably should have scored as well up until that point. So we pretty should have been level. And you're thinking, how many more chances are we going to get? But to our credit, we kept creating them. At that point, definitely deserved to be level.
Yeah.
At that point, would have taken the 2-2.
Chris, would have.
Chris, what did you think of Will's goal? And
I thought it was very well taken. I must say, I was getting a little bit frustrated by Will, because I was feeling that he was coming second best out of a lot of kind of like challenges and everything, and I was just, I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't trying; he was definitely trying, but it just I was amazed it was him that scored it, just because I just kept on feeling that that kind of Barnet had his number from what I was seeing. So he then did manage to kind of like go back to the general kind of like being slightly overpowered by Barnet defenders kind of thing for the rest of the game, from what I saw. But
only one chance.
Only need one chance. Yeah.
Then, arguably, although maybe not the best sort of aesthetically, but for what we want, possibly one of the best goals, because Passat just literally ran the bloke down,
Oh,
panicked him,
yes.
and
Yes.
absolutely was pressing and doing exactly what you want. How was that goal for you? And did you expect it? Did you see that one coming from?
Didn't see
from the
that one
position
coming
he
at
was in?
all. No,
No?
delirious. I think that's the only way to describe it. It was, amazing. And yeah, I'm just so sad he's on loan.
Until the end of the season. Who
Yeah,
knows where his
well,
contract is? We don't
yeah,
know these things.
yeah.
It's like people are saying about Nadas, oh, how can we persuade him to stay here? Well, keep loving him. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Johnny,
But yeah.
how did you see that third goal to put us in the lead?
Yeah, through quite good limbs, probably nearly ended up the road forward from where I was. It's a sort of goal. We never seem to get that sort of luck. We haven't done in a while, I think. So it's quite nice. And I think last season we got used to us defending like that every single week. So she was on the other foot and it was good. And it can't have been long after the second goal. Actually, we were still catching our breath after the second goal. Really good moment. We said that the next 10 minutes after that, I thought we sat really deep in it. We weren't great, to be honest. We were all saying, "Oh, well, they're going to score, aren't they? They're going to score." And we were like, "Well, if they do, at least we'll have had that moment to have gone 3-2 up." So yeah, it was good. I mean, we've not had too much joy away from home recently. So not scored too many goals. So to have 3 away at a team that are they're a good team, Barnet. They play nice football and they'll be up there at the end of the season. So yeah, certainly a nice moment to go ahead.
We did survive that 10 minutes. We survived the next 10 minutes. And then we survived 8 of the next 9. So Johnny, I mean, 8 minutes first of all, and the free kick second of all, and the goal. How have you viewed those 3 things, and how did you feel about it?
Yeah, well, I'm going to surprise you all and defend the match officials a little on one of those 2 things because it's never a free kick. I think he was as the game went on, the referee gave softer and softer fouls, and I don't think he would be giving those our way. It's a tendency to give things to the losing team as if he's getting his job confused with making a game of it rather than making a correct decision. So I think that was poor. The 8 minutes, I think we're such a... Do you remember the start of last season where they said we're going to add that time on where the ball's actually out of play? And for about 2 weeks, we had consensus. And now it's just like, put your finger in the air, see which way the wind's blowing. I mean, no one seems to be able to agree on how much added time there should be. I mean, we play a 90-minute game of football. I think on average, the ball's in play for 60 minutes. So you should be having logically 15 minutes of added time at the end of each half. So I don't think you can really complain. Some match officials would have given 5 minutes, some would have given 8. So I don't think that's a problem. I think as a sport that you get, is it IFAB that do the rules, something like that. And they come up with all these stupid ideas like replacing throw-ins with kick-ins and stuff that doesn't need fixing. And there's actually such an obvious problem. I think we'll look back in 30 years and it'll be like the back pass rule or 3 points for a win. You'll think, how did we ever have it with 2 points for a win and where a goalkeeper can pick up a back pass? Like we were all slagging off Tamworth for time wasting on Saturday. And now we were doing it, to be honest. Like we had Jack Sims go down. Every keeper now goes down with a pretend injury because they're the only player that doesn't have to go off the pitch for treatment afterwards. Every team does it. Like we know this, and we know we're as good / bad as any other team. Until you have it, so that you have say 60 minutes on the clock, and the clock stops when the ball's out of play. Only then will it not benefit a team to waste time. So we cannot really complain at the 8 minutes. I think we were unlucky because 9 times out of 10 it would have been 5 or 6 and we'd have got away with it. But while it's so subjective, the added time, I don't think you can blame the referee for that. But oh my god, it was never a free kick. So either way, I think without the referee's interference, we'd have been walking away with 3 points.
And
yeah, I felt it was 5.
Jack had made a couple of good saves. and they'd hit the post as well.
Yes.
Are we complaining that he kind of didn't hold it, or are you letting that one go, Johnny?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, it's a mistake. There's no two ways about it. It's probably one of the first, if not the first, big mistake that he's made, and it's not an easy ball to deal with. I actually think I could just be talking bollocks here, but I think if it's not the last minute of the game and he's trying to catch it and go down and hold it and waste time, he probably tips over the bar because it's quite a high ball, and but I think he's thinking, I don't want to give them another chance. I want this to be it. It's a this or nothing moment, and that's what costs him. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's a slight mistake, and they were quick to react. We weren't, and the guy it nearly hit their keeper and in the end, which would have been the ultimate slice of luck. But yeah, no, it's a mistake, but it's not as glaring as
we've had in the past.
As we've had in the recent and not so recent past. So I think it's at this level as well, right? I mean, no, if he didn't make mistakes, he'd be playing hard in the National League. It's just frustrating when it's and the spotlight's on you and it's the 99th minute, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. That's always a newsworthy thing. And what about yourself, Chris? What did you think of the decisions leading up to the goal and the goal?
Yeah. Well, I think I would say I thought it was 5 minutes rather than 8. I mean, because like Jack had been down injured, or using time or what have you. But certainly, I was frustrated. There was a sense of inevitability given that we had our post rattled. Though Jack played really, really well yesterday. I thought. I mean, which seems a bit strange to say for a match in which he'd let him free, but he made some amazing saves. So I must say, it's tough, but I mean, I think you can't blame it all on him. I think a defense as well should have done more. I must say I am getting more and more frustrated and concerned with Tyler, who I think is a bit of a weak point, is my feeling. But yeah, I was just frustrated, but also I was trying to remember. Look, it's a point here. Nobody has beaten Barnet at home this season, so a point is fine. A point is well done, but it was just. But it was just having had two of the other points snatched away. But,
it's like the Papa John's Cup. We had it.
Yeah, we had it. We had it.
Yeah, I mean, as Johnny said, it's an entertaining game.
Yeah.
Johnny also mentioned that we tightened up our defence fairly recently, and yet in the last few games we've let in 3 goals twice.
Yeah.
But we scored 3 goals twice. So are we? I mean, some small, tiny mistakes. I mean, every goal is avoidable. You could say that all the goals we scored are avoidable. But are we happy with the defence? I know you've mentioned you feel Tyler's a bit of a weak point. Johnny sort of said he thought he had a bad game, but he's improved greatly recently. Not a bad game, but bad moments in the game. Sorry, Johnny, to paraphrase you there. But how do we feel? Do we feel happy defensively, offensively? Do we feel like we need to strengthen in the well, it's not the window, but it's where the the league clubs can start letting people go. So Chris, what do you think is going to happen over the next few weeks?
I would like us to strengthen up top for sure. And I think maybe getting a kind of like another a strong midfielder in who can kind of dip back, that'd be helpful. But I do think a calmer head would be handy. I know people have kept on saying that this season, and I think it's true. A calmer head or two would be handy.
Perfect. Johnny, what about yourself? What do you midfielders.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I have probably two main criticisms at the minute, and one of them is the squad balance. I mean, we've got loads of defenders, and certainly when Alex Kirk comes back as well. But we've got one striker in the entire squad, really, given that we're playing Ashley Nadesan on the wing, if you like, essentially the midfield. And I don't really think we've got enough cover in midfield either. Certainly in the more attacking midfield positions. So it's I think an extra midfielder, definitely another striker, because I think I like Will Davis. I think he works hard, but because he's playing basically 90 minutes for every game, and I mean, like and Naders as well looked absolutely knackered, probably in the 70th minute. But I'm not sure we've got a player that comes on in that position at that point. I think maybe he delayed putting on Nana Boateng because he's not as much of a presence defending set pieces or just generally defensively. Dylan De Silva did well when he came on, so maybe he's the answer to the more attacking midfield roles. Maybe now Jaden's out, we need someone else to play in the with Sidhu out as well. You've only really got Finley and I suppose you've got Lewis Simba can play in there as well. But so I think defensively we're fine. I'd stick with our defence. I think Alex Kirk's our best defender, so when he's back, it'll be nice. But a little bit more in midfield and going forward would be lovely. I think we can't go half a season with one striker. I'm sorry, but it's not going to work.
No. Well, I think Akoli was only up to January. I'm not sure Millwall will want to continue if he's not getting as much game time. Charlie, I think, also was only to January, but I think we would probably try and see if we can push that one. So it might be we get one out and a couple in. I don't know.
Striker in, yeah.
Yeah. But half-term reports. So we're just over halfway through the season. Johnny, what do you think? We're dead on mid-table. So it's 9 wins, 9 losses, 6 draws, and we're 12th. So it's kind of where a lot of us expecting us to be. But what are your thoughts on sort of the halfway point?
Yeah, I'd say slightly disappointing. I was hoping to be pushing the playoffs. If you asked me at the start of the season, I don't know if anyone did or if there's any record of this. Hopefully I'm not lying through my teeth here. But I think if you'd asked me at the start of the season, I'd have been aiming for seventh or above, or realistically 7th. I don't think we'd be coming much higher than that. So the playoffs has got to be the aim. I think I'm not massively surprised we are where we are. I think I don't see it changing much, if I'm being whether that's optimistic or pessimistic, to be honest. We've shown good signs at times, haven't we? There's been games where we've been fantastic, or just parts of games where we're fantastic. I thought the first 20 minutes of the second half against Barnet, we actually played them off the park, and they're second in the league. But we have problems in that we have spells of games where we are just not in it at all. We struggle. My other main criticism is that we actually, once teams sit in and defend against us on a lead, we do not seem to know how to break them down. I think the Altrincham game, we spent 80 minutes of the game behind. In the Tamworth game, we spent half an hour of the game behind. So that's 110 minutes. Math isn't my strong point. We didn't. I don't think we had a shot on target in that time. It's just terrible, to be honest. You need to be doing a lot more in that situation, because as soon as we go goal down, and whether it's a set piece or counter or something dreadful against Aldershot on New Year's, they say we go a goal down against Aldershot, they're probably going to sit in against us. They'll probably come and play for a point. Never mind if they go 1-0 up, and we're going to need to find ways to deal with that better than we can at the minute. So if we can deal with that, if we can work on that and get a couple of players in, maybe we can push for the playoffs. We're not far off. But it's we are very mid-table at the minute, I think.
I definitely did say I would like a playoff push, not necessarily make it. So I'm quite happy where we are, to be honest. I think I also said as long as we avoid relegation, if we get promotion, I think I covered all bases at some point or other during the season. I'll just find the record of which one suits, and I'll put that out. Go and see. I told you all. Chris, what do you think? Sort of half-term report. Where do you think we're about where we should be?
We have to bear in mind this is pretty much a new squad. and so people, players didn't know each other, didn't know their style, and so I kind of think that they are gelling better. So I think that we're in a relatively good position. And yes, sure, I would love us to be further up the table. But I would just, I think I would like maybe some folks to be a bit more patient. That might be a controversial thing to say, but like I'm in the tunnel. I hear people shouting things angrily at our management, and I particularly remember people shouting during the Ebbsfleet game, the FA Trophy game, when we were losing 3-1, and a game that we went on to win on penalties, admittedly, but still, we won. I think it. Yeah, we just. Yeah, the players are gelling. If it doesn't work this season, I think there's a really good chance it's going to work next. I think, as long as we, as long as I kind of think, the management stays and everything, and that, and I would just, I'm just.
We're gonna go unbeaten in 2025. There we go.
Well, I'm not saying that, but
that's what I'm saying. We're gonna go on a great run. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. So there was a couple of points people were making up on. They were kind of saying, last second of the game, should we have better game management? There was lots of talk on the referee, because it's always a nice, easy one to blame. But it did lead on to an article which came out this week, which I thought Johnny was going to bring up earlier. But I was like, no, you can't. I haven't got time to talk about it yet. Was the idea they're going to do football video support, like a VAR light. At first, it's like, nope, don't want it. Don't want that at all. But it's actually the version of VAR I've been saying it should be. It should be coaches giving a challenge to say, no, I disagree with that decision, and the referee then having a look back at it and saying, yes, you can have that, or no, it's standing. And I think you get 2. Wasn't sure if it's 2 per half or 2 per game. Actually, I can't remember now. Per match. Yeah, per match.
We'd still be in Barnet now if they had that. It's a dreadful idea. I don't. This is what I meant when I said that they're trying to fix problems, aren't they? They're trying to come up with all sorts of ridiculous things that we don't need, and actually there's quite a simple fix for quite a big problem that they're not interested in. I don't understand. I mean, I guess that you've got Arsene Wenger and working, and they've got to be paying him to do something, and this is the sort of crazy. Well, it's not his fault. The VAR like for the EFL, I guess, but the sort of people that are in these jobs that they I think are trying rather too hard to justify their role. I think it's a terrible idea. I don't think we'll ever see it. But
I think the idea is to limit some of that things of managers blaming the referees, because if the manager comes out and says, "Oh, the referee made a terrible mistake there," they could say, "Well, hang on, why didn't you challenge it at the point? If you think it was a bad decision, why didn't you challenge it at that point?" And if you're challenging every single damn thing, you're going to lose them. I don't know. Not immediately against
calls. I think for big calls it works. I would think. So I watch cricket and tennis, and there I think it doesn't ruin the game. But certainly, like I mean, I seldom watch the Premier League, but certainly, I do get a bit bored of sort of after a goal has been scored, waiting. Right, is that going to go to VAR? Whereas if there is a limited number of appeals, I think that could work.
Yeah, I mean,
then people were casting doubt about it in tennis, and it worked. But like VAR, as we see in the Premier League, doesn't work. But also, Johnny, when you were saying that it was a solution search for a problem, paraphrasing a bit, but that's kind of the gist. I must say, I remember Frank Lampard's non-goal in the World Cup. I mean, this is one of the things that this is supposed to try to address.
Goal line technology is objective, and that's why it works. I mean, this is to use your cricket example, Chris. You have umpires call. Where it's too tight to call, and they don't do that in football, which is ridiculous. I mean, some of the offside calls you get. One of the games, the Premier League, the Liverpool game last night, and they checked like 2 offside. It took I think it was like 4 minutes, 37 seconds. It was ridiculous. And they should just be able to. It was meant to be clear and obvious. VAR. This isn't a Premier League. Right? The league in world football, so the most lucrative sport in the world, the most lucrative league in the most lucrative sport, and they still can't get it right. They don't. Clear and obvious with offside should be if you look at it and there's daylight and you look at it and within 2 seconds, all right, he's offside. The very fact that you're drawing lines means that's not clear and obvious. Most penalty calls are the same. You'll have a VAR decision overturned. I mean, the Premier League release a report right every week, and in that report they'll be like, this VAR decision was right, this one was wrong. How on earth are they getting a VAR decision wrong when it's clear and obvious? Every week they're doing every week. It's unbelievable. So if they can't get it right in the Premier League, what makes anyone think they're going to get it right in the EFL? It's crazy. I don't understand how anyone can look at how much of a disaster it's been in the Premier League and think we're gonna put an even cheaper version of this version. Yeah, to the football league. It's going to work fine.
Well, I think it's the number. I think it's the number. So. It's the first I've heard of having kind of like a limited number of kind of like appeals. I think it's that no pun intended, appeals to me. The fact that the management or whoever will need to make a decision and say, right, okay, we're going to appeal that decision. Yeah. That is, I think, the crucial difference. So you're not standing around in Goodison Park for kind of like 4 minutes waiting to decide whether somebody was offside or not.
It's not every decision, and that's as Johnny, you said, that it wasn't ever supposed to be every single decision was scrutinised.
I think the appeal system would be worse because you've got two a game is ridiculous. So you've got 2 a game. You've not used it yet. It's the 85th minute, and the referee uses a free kick on the halfway line, and you're going to spend 3 minutes deciding whether it's a foul on the halfway line. I just think it's stupid. Yeah, no. If you had 2 a season, it would be more reasonable. maybe if you had a goal disallowed for offside, that's 3 yards onside, then fair enough. And even then, I think it's ridiculous. I go England home and away, and so I'm a match going sufferer with VAR. And it's dreadful. I mean, the Euros final, I thought Saka looked offside on the ball through. So Palmer puts the ball in the back of it, and I didn't even really celebrate because I'm thinking, well, it's just going to get disallowed. We'd had a goal disallowed in VAR in the Slovakia game. That's crap. I've spent a month in Germany at a tournament, spent God knows how much money, and one of the biggest games of football I've ever seen in my life, and I don't feel like I can celebrate a goal because of technology. It ruins it. It ruins the experience as a match-going fan. I can tell you that as a match-going fan, like of a big team, if you like, with England in it. One of the things I like about watching Sutton is that you don't get that interference. You score a goal. So like the celebrations we're talking about for Will Davis goal and Topol's goal. I mean, say in the build-up, Ashley Nadesan was borderline offside. I don't think he was, but for argument's sake, he's borderline offside. So you score the equalising goal, you all go mental celebrating, and the managers referred it. So you celebrate, and you stood there for 3 minutes waiting to know if you can celebrate. And it's crap. It's absolutely crap. As a match-going fan, even if this system works perfectly, which it won't, I would say I wouldn't want it anywhere near Sutton. I'm very opinionated on this, as you can see.
You could argue Topolov's goal
as much as possible.
Yeah, that Topolov goal, the 3-3 goal, the 3-2 goal. I suppose you could kind of sit and make a case. Did he foul that defender?
Exactly, and then
in that build-up, was there a tiny little push?
Yeah, and then we're still sat there now. And I'll tell you, even if they had overturned it, it's not like we'd be sat and we wouldn't discuss it. We wouldn't be here and say, "Oh, it's just as well they got technology," because they would have missed that. We'd still be arguing the point. Right? So it's not gonna. It causes more problems than it solves.
Fair enough. We're going to finish with a match. You'd be pleased to know. So we are just going to finish up with the good, the bad, and the funny. So music, hopefully. Johnny, I can't remember if you've done one of these or not. So basically, it's the whole match day experience. You can be like Neil and include your travel woes if you wish. What was good about the Boxing Day game?
I think the shout out to the travelling support, the younger fans especially, which I'm no longer a part of, I guess. But I thought they travelled in their numbers, especially given it's the Boxing Day. The travel is difficult. I think it was nearly 300 there. Loud in voice, outsung the home fans, even when we were losing, by the way, which we need to do more at home. The supporting the team, not actually losing part. But so I thought that was a bonus to the match day experience from and the amount of young fans we get now. I think you can only look at it and think the future's bright.
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. I keep praising them and I can't keep praising this lot. But Steve Salis said himself yesterday, thanks to all the fans today, incredible noise. So that was just a reply. It wasn't a great big sort of moment trying to make something for himself, but that definitely sounded good. Chris, what about yourself? What was good for you?
So I think actually, seeing Steve Salis just wandering over and kind of like applauding everybody, and he was, it was a little bit odd. I don't think I saw Morrison coming over and applauding folks, but also I think people were trying to keep him away from the ref. And I think the good generally is, I left the match yesterday feeling kind of ultimately, I think, uplifted. And I hope that we can use that as a spur for bigger things for the rest of the season, because we did so well.
Absolutely. And what was bad for you, Chris?
What was bad? Well, so actually, one thing that I saw coming in, the stewards were being quite fussy about kind of like drums and various other things, and so I don't know whether anybody had reached out to Barnet beforehand. It seemed as if people were intimating that they had, but a bit of me just going, oh, come on. It's not as if you're in like a residential, there aren't people that live right behind that stand. So that was frustrating a little bit.
I don't know for certain, but I'm guessing if it was Seb's drum, he tends to make sure all the boxes are ticked. So I definitely think he would have. But Johnny, what was bad?
I was going to echo what you said, Chris. I thought the stewarding was poor. I mean, so Seb had emailed ahead and asked about having a drum, and I don't think he got a reply. But they had a drum in home end, so I don't know what sort of rules they're using here. And it wasn't like at our place where one of the ends is close to residential, but I mean their drum was in next to the tube line, and ours would have been in next to an AstroTurf pitch, I think. I don't know who that would have been disturbing, but the search on the way in as well was ridiculous. I mean, I had to unzip my jacket. I mean, we're not exactly a club with a known hooligan element. We're not exactly Lazio. I mean, it was a more rigorous search, I think, than I'd been through. Going to watch England, even at some of these places you go, and there's Sun headlines about hooligans on a rampage, and you certainly get that level of checks. I mean, it would have been a pain in the arse if you were turning up just before kickoff. You don't really expect to go through that much hassle, and certainly the only other club that's been worse than that was Port Vale, which was ridiculous. I would never forgive them for that, even though it wasn't actually that important. But the stewarding was poor, and it's off-putting. I say the stewarding, it's just those two things: the drum on entry and all the searches, it just makes you think, like, if you are gonna choose to give a game a miss next season, it was like 24 quid for a ticket as well, by the way, which is ridiculous. And food was crap as well. For a cheeseburger for £7.50, you'd at least expect it to be good. So not a good match day experience. If anyone from Barnet is listening in, out.
Well, that's sort of one of the things that I know we've targeted for the away support. And I remember that tweet, and we all remember that tweet with the Bradford one. But it was one of the things they basically said is, we want, when the fixtures come out, people going, yes, I'm going to Sutton, because they had a good time with the stewards and so on. But what was funny, Johnny?
Funny? Oh God!
I've got one, Johnny.
Oh God, Chris, save me.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll actually say one of the stewards. So it was a steward. I think his name was Michael. Who was down at the front, and he was fantastic. Yes. Looked like a bloke from the darts. I'm reliably told. And he gave as good as he got. He was lovely with kind of like with the fans, particularly kind of like the young lads. And he was brilliant. But also as well, he's the kind of steward in an away end that a home fan wouldn't mind either, because it's not like he was kind of like getting them to be. He wasn't joining in the cheering. So he just was a good guy, and I sort of he made me laugh a few times. I mean, I came in like 10 minutes before kickoff, so but I got the impression that there'd been quite a bit of kind of like exchange, but that it had been good natured.
I think we've had him before, and I think he does some home as well, doesn't he, Johnny?
He did our game at Woking away, and so I think he said, I can't remember his name. I feel bad. I want to say Luke, but
Michael.
I think that's his actual name.
No, was it? Oh, okay.
Darts lookalike, Michael Van Gogh.
Okay, fine.
Coincidence if it was.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
But
Luke.
Is it Luke?
He tweeted out.
Yeah. So he said, Sutton are the best fans we've had come to Woking, and he did a couple of our home games, I think. So he must be, because I used to work as a steward myself, and you go around different agencies. So he's obviously, and most stewards would work for more than one. You just go where the work is. It's like 0 hours. So he's managed to find a way to get on some of the Sutton away games as well, by the looks of it. So we've had him before, lovely bloke, and so he does his job obviously, but he won't be heavy-handed. He'll be friendly with everyone, and that's the sort of stewarding that you want to get at football, rather than being treated automatically like you're a criminal.
And also, if he then comes up to you and goes, Johnny, you've been a bit of a knob, mate.
Yeah,
you're going to feel a little bit more like,
Yeah.
He tweeted yesterday, back on the grind, working a shift at Barnet, always special looking after the Sutton United fans, the greatest fan base in non-league. Gutted they conceded the win in the 97th minute.
Yeah.
99. Cheers, Luke. It was 99. But so that's good. Johnny, I'll keep that one for you as well, because
I can't believe it.
Right. We can have a very quick chat. Aldershot, again, disorganised at the moment, so I haven't got any of their fans on. But what do you guys feel about that game? We can have a few days rest.
I used to live near Aldershot, so maybe yes, I've been to Aldershot a few times.
The players are going to be having sort of their sort of Christmassy over the next couple of days, because obviously they've got the weekend off, which is great. But what do you think, Johnny? We'll start with you. What do you sort of think about the game? How do you see it going? Starting off 2025 with a bang.
Yeah, I think if we're looking at the ambition of chasing the playoffs, you look at your next few fixtures and you think you've got to be winning the majority, if not all of them, which I don't want to tempt fate, but we're playing teams towards the bottom of the division, aren't we? We've got Aldershot, we've got Fylde, we've got Wealdstone. We've tended to do well against the bottom teams, struggle against the top teams. I mean, there'll be a tough test, and a decent result against Woking. They're not in the best form, and they're they're probably where I've not seen them play this season, but they'll be the league table doesn't lie after 22, 23 games. So you've got to be looking at winning it. Having said that, we'd have pretty said the same thing for Tamworth, and they well beat us, to be honest. It's this challenge that I said about playing against a team that's going to defend. If they take the lead, how do we deal with that? We're going to have the creative tools to get at them, to turn it around. They won't play the same, or maybe they do, I don't know, but I doubt they'll play the same high line that Barnet did. So a tough game. Got to make sure we score first. But then, again, we'd have said that for Tamworth. It isn't any good. So, fingers crossed we can be switched on for the whole 90 minutes this time, rather than the first half and then the last half an hour, and forget that we've got to play the first 50 minutes of the second half as well. But hopefully we can go up the league table a little bit in these next few games, because not to look too far ahead, but York away, and you're thinking a bit of a on paper a slightly tougher test.
Yeah.
What's your score prediction, Johnny? It's an early one. Obviously, we don't. I don't think you play the game anyway, so you can say what you like. I don't care.
I think we're due a clean sheet, aren't we? 2-0 win.
2-0 win. Lovely. Ooh. Nice. Chris, how do you see it going, and a score prediction for you?
I hopefully we will do all right. I've not seen Aldershot play either. Aldershot do tend to be a bit of a physical side, so I think it could be a bit bruising affair. Historically, Aldershot games tend to be quite physical. Maybe 1-0 to us. Okay. It would be nice to have a comfortable margin of victory, but
I'm not going to go for a comfortable game at all. I'm going for 2-3. So we're going to win 2-3. And
fine.
The last 5-10 minutes, we're going to be under the cosh, and everyone's going to be panicking about.
Right. Well, I'm working my day job the next day, so I would quite like it to be moderately calm.
I'm not looking forward to that either. I'm like thinking now, I should have booked that day off, because playing football on one day and going to work the next day just doesn't seem right. I know the nighttime games you do that, but it just doesn't seem right during the day.
It's
weird. But we're going to wrap up this episode. Thank you both very, very much. As always, we appreciate everyone's ear attention and feedback. Let us know what you think about the Knowing Me, Knowing You section. If you could design a match day event or a pre-match event, what would it look like, and why do you think it will benefit? Follow, like, and share on all socials at Sutton Podcast. Let us know what you think of this episode. Subscribe, give me the thumbs up. And we are back sometime after the Aldershot match. I can't remember when. With Dan and Paul. I think I've told them about it. But as always, thank you to our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin. A big thank you to our panel today, Chris and Johnny. Thanks to you for the listeners, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Sutton Podcast, and I hope everyone has a perfect 2025. Take care, and we'll catch up soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
United!